calling all of my fathers, man, calling all of my men, my real men, the one that's reaching out, saying, yo, bro, I want to be a part of what you're doing. I want to support what you're doing in the community. I want to be a mentor to somebody younger than me. I want to show somebody that they can make it out, that there is a better way. So to all of my men that really want to give back and pour into our community, pour into our young men out here, because a lot of them are running wild, man, and they just don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. So they need some strong leading examples. So if you're willing to step up with me, September.
All right, that was an intro video. Peace and blessings, everybody. Peace and blessings. That was an intro that came from our last year, September 30th, Skillsets for Life first conference. The very first conference I did was in Sumter, South Carolina, along with David Witherspoon, Melissa Guide, Jake, Jennifer. We pulled together a great team, man, and had a great conference there. The next conference I'll be doing for Skillsets for Life in Sumter will be Skillsets for Business, and it will be a business networking event and conference to pull together a lot of the local businesses in that city, and to pretty much be able to encourage businesses to support one another as well, because we always try to get, you know, the general population to support the businesses, but the businesses are not doing a lot of supporting each other as well. So I really have a great plan on what I want to do when it comes to that conference. So y'all be on the lookout for the flyers for that conference as well. So first and foremost, I'm going to introduce the people that are on the stage, starting with and you guys could just introduce yourself and just let them know who you are to me, and then I'll go ahead and kick off the introduction to the Game Changer manual and workbook, which is what the center focus is and what we're here for today. So first and foremost, ladies first, introducing my guest and co-host, anxiety coach, Miss Nick. The floor is yours.
Hi, I am anxiety coach. I specialize in childhood trauma and anxiety, and I use humor therapy to reduce and eliminate anxiety, and to also give tips and strategies for overcoming anxiety and life.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So we got my brother Travis is here as well, man. Travis is a part of our Mendable family. He's traveling right now, so I don't know how well the connection is gonna be. But Travis, well, it looks like you kind of frozen. But I'm giving you an opportunity to go ahead and introduce yourself, Travis, and thank you for being here for support as well.
Hey, no doubt. I don't know if you can hear me, but
Yep.
Yeah, my name is Travis.
Nope. Nope, you're in the matrix. I'll come back to you, Travis.
I'm support. I'm gonna keep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I heard that last piece. So Travis is one of my brothers from our mental health awareness club, and he just came on to support, man, and I really appreciate it, man. Like, our Mendable family always comes through, man. So thank you so much, Travis. I appreciate you, bro. And I gotta acknowledge Jahan as well. You can mute your mic, Travis. Let's see. Mute your mic for me, Travis. There you go. All right. Also, my brother Tad is here from our entrepreneurship class. I don't know if you wanted to introduce yourself or not, brother, but you got the opportunity if you want to. Give you a second. There you go.
My name is Tad Bassel. I'm CEO of Evergreen Daily Transportation. I'm just here to support the brother Corey and see what the movement is about.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it, brother. So without further ado, we're here today to introduce the Game Changer. The Game Changer Transitional Manual is a part of my reentry program. The reentry program is complete with a manual, which is the Game Changers Transitional Manual, which is a 52-week guide to successful reentry. It's also accompanied by and complemented by a Game Changer Workbook, which will be going through the outlines of the manual and flipping through the pages of the workbook as well. We also have the online courses that are available at www.coreybakertv.com. You just go to the website, you click on online courses, and the online courses will be available for you guys to take at your own pace. And so to give a little introduction of what the demographic is and the market is for this book and this manual and the ebooks, and we'll also be doing workshops online as well. So I cater to the incarcerated population. I also cater to the recently released population, people that actually done time in prison and are coming home and having a struggle with the transition. Me being someone that actually done 10 years in prison myself, I know how much it means to have the right support and the right tools in order to help and guide you along the way of that reentry process, because it's a very, very complex process. So in the Game Changer Manual, we're going to cover all aspects. I mean, we're talking about connecting with your family. We're talking about building your credit, getting your finances in order. We're talking about the mental health aspects, vocation, making resumes, uploading resumes, like everything that you can think of that a person would need to be successful in their reentry will be touched on in this reentry manual. And then, like I said, we have the workbook that'll actually complement the manual as well. So with that being said, I'm going to start off by showing you guys we'll start with the workbook. Matter of fact, we're going to start with the manual. I'm going to add the manual to the stage. So let's see if I could get you guys a little more. So in the manual, in the table of contents, which this will give you guys an outline of what all is covered in this manual. And I look forward to taking this manual into the prison systems, into halfway houses, and being able to facilitate and educate those inmates on these different topics. So we're talking the month 1. Like I said, it's a 52-week manual and guide to successful reentry for reentering citizens. So month 1 is covering personal assessment and foundation building. And y'all excuse me, I know the letters are very small here, but I would have to actually share it to you from the document in order to zoom in. So I'm going to just kind of run across some of the topics, if that's okay. So week 1, self-reflection and assessment, understanding your strengths and weaknesses. So in that aspect, we talk about, holding yourself accountable. That's the first thing that a person needs to do on their path to reentry. Like my path for reentry, from my recommendation, that should start day 1. From the second you get locked up, you should be thinking about, okay, I'm locked up now. What am I going to do to prepare myself for my release? That's if you have a release date. I would even, recommend the same thing for the brothers facing life that, may have to fight to get a release date. Because as some of the people in my close circle now, they were facing life sentences and were able to fight and get some of their time off and had an opportunity to come back to society. So the first step starts with self-reflection and assessment, understanding your strengths and weaknesses. so that you can do a proper assessment of yourself and know what you need to work on moving forward to your release. So identifying personal values and benefits, we go over in this first week. Then week 2, creating a plan of action. So we're talking about prioritizing your contacts, your resources and services, things of that nature that you're going to need to get your plan of action together. Week 3, health and wellness introduction, physical checkups, making sure you're checking your mental health, seeing how you're doing, just fully assessing yourself on every level. Financial checkup, what is your credit score looking like? What do you need to do to get your finances in order? All of these things we'll be covering, but I'm just kind of zooming through some of the topics so you guys can get an idea. Week 4, time management, fundamentals, prioritizing your tasks and activities, creating a daily and weekly schedule. So that's going to cover the first 4 weeks of the first month. With you guys hearing some of those things I touched on before I move forward into the second month, I just want to ask a question. Is there anything in that first month that you guys can kind of just, and I know that everybody hasn't done time, but just on the panel, can you kind of get an idea of how these things right here would be important to a person coming from, living in a 24-hour violent environment, coming from prison to having to readjust and get back out here into society? So self-reflection and assessment, creating a plan of action, health and wellness, and time management fundamentals. Do you guys see where these things could be of importance to somebody coming back to society?
I wrote down a couple of questions, but you already answered 2 of them. I was going to ask you about what happens if a person doesn't have this in place. What was the mission and vision for this manual? What did you see potentially happening? And what was the formula for creating this? Like, you had to have experienced some things and been without some things to say, okay, let me make sure that this doesn't happen to somebody else. So I just wanted to hear some of the actual real life experiences to know like what could potentially happen. Usually, rules and things are created because of something that, like, the reason they say it's no peeing in the pool is because somebody peed in the pool, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to know, when you created the manual, is because a manual didn't exist and you had to go through certain steps. And I'm sure it could be much more difficult if somebody didn't already create a blueprint. So creating that blueprint came out of the struggle and the lack of having one. So I just wanted to hear some behind the scenes, what was the thought going into the manual?
Okay, absolutely. And Rashawn Murray, I see your question as well. I'm gonna answer Nicole's question. I'll get right to your question. Thank you too. So guys on Facebook, y'all can feel free to drop your questions in the comment area, and I'll get to those questions as well. So Nicole, to answer your question, absolutely, of course. This manual came from me going back and reflecting on all the things that I've been through and the transition, the complexity of the transition, and what were the things that were some of the most important things that I had to cover and address and face and make a part of my reality in order to get from where I was to where I am now. So for example, my main one, self-reflection and accountability, or self-reflection and assessment. That right there, it's like it's a purpose why I put that as the first part of the book, because you have to hold yourself accountable. Anybody that is in prison or on their way home from prison or just making it home from prison, and they want to have a successful life out here and re-enter into society, you can't come out here with the mind state and the mindset of pointing it at everybody else. Oh, well, I did this time in prison, or I got a felony on my record, or they're not gonna let me do this. You can't do that. Your main thing that you have to do to position yourself and give you a mental and a stable foundation mentally, for the most part, so that you can have your own confidence in knowing that you can accomplish, is you have to hold yourself accountable and say, hey, where am I? What situation am I in? And everybody comes out in a different situation. You have people that, like, for example, with me, before I went in, I mean, I lost both of my parents by the time I was 19. So imagine coming home from prison and you don't got a mama or daddy or, to go live with or nothing like that. Fortunately, I'm one of 5 brothers, well, 6 brothers. And I include my first cousin too. So that's 7. I got to include Cedric. But the point is, you have to make your own self. You have to reflect on yourself and hold yourself accountable. That's number one. And once you're able to do that, then that's gonna give you the strength and put you in a position where hey, it's all on me. And when it's all on you, then that's gonna put that fire under your ass to speak, to say, hey man, I gotta do this. If I fail, then I can't point the finger at nobody else. It's on me now. So that came from my real life experience, and that's why I put it there, and creating an action plan. I gotta be honest, I have not been the best when it came to just writing it down. But I've realized when I started writing things down, those were the things that actually manifest. Those were the things that I actually followed through, with. So that part of it, creating an action plan, I realized that I had to come up with a plan, and follow it through step by step and be disciplined. So to answer your question, real life experience. And I know that other people coming home are gonna have to go through some of the same process. It may look different for them, the way that the way that it's brought to them, or the way that they make it to that point. But in some way or another, they're gonna have to come to a point to where it's like, hey, let me reflect on myself. This is my life. I'm the one that committed the crime. I'm the one that's got to get out here and get myself together, especially when we got kids depending on us, So, yep, that's to answer your question. Is that cool? You good on that answer?
I like that. A lot of people don't take accountability and they blame other people. So if you're coming out, you can't say, well, this was done to me, or I got caught up, or whatever. You got to own your part in it, and then you can move forward. Because if you see the world as doing stuff to you, then you can't do anything for yourself, because you've given the control to everybody else. So I'll be quiet.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you. So now I'm going to answer Rashawn's question. Are there any tools or assessments throughout the manual to monitor progress? Yes, absolutely. And as we get through it, you'll be able to see that, as a matter of fact. So to answer your question, yes, absolutely. And like I said, the workbook actually complements the manual. So the workbook is a lot more interactive and have a lot more pages for those type things. So thank you, Rashawn. That's a great question. And we're definitely going to get to, you'll be able to see that as we go through the outline of the manual. So if there's no more questions, I'm gonna go ahead and move forward, because this is 395 pages. This is not just a workbook here that we're going through. This manual is well planned and thought out. It took a lot. I've been working on this for a long time. So the workbook, like, we can zip through, but this manual is going to cover a lot. So I'm going to still have to keep it moving because it's 52 weeks of curriculum. So to go into the second month, employment and job readiness. So we're covering, and every month in the manual, I have my personal story, as y'all can see here. So I go with my personal story. So it's 12 of those showing exactly. That's crazy that you asked that question, Nicole, because in the manual, I actually have my personal story after every month, kind of rounding up, how I dealt with all of those things in that whatever particular section we're talking about. So month 2 is we're addressing employment and job readiness. Peace. What's up, Star Fury? Thank you for being here, brother. Thank you so much. So identifying job opportunities, online job searches and platforms. We're going to touch on introduction to networking. Now we're at week 6, resume writing and application process. And shout out to, I just connected with a young lady on Facebook by the name of Christian. I think that's the way to pronounce her name, but she was very excited to join me in helping. That's exactly what she does. She does resume writing for people. So I reached out to her, told her about the manual and about the curriculum, and she was very excited to help and join as well. So she'll be another resource here to be able to help people with the resume writing process and application process. So to anybody that may be viewing this live or go back and view this podcast, I'm definitely open to working and networking with other businesses. This is not the type of program and curriculum to where I feel like, okay, I know everything and there's no more value that could be added. So I'm definitely looking forward to networking and collaborating with other people. It doesn't matter if we're in the same field or not. If you can have your own book and I got my book, and we can both bring them, because there's so many people that are in need of these services. So we can bring our information together and be able to serve more of the people that we're serving. So just to put that out there, anybody that knows me pretty much know how I roll. Me collaborating with somebody else is not going to take no value from me. If anything, it adds value to me. And I encourage other people to think and act in that way as well, because we can accomplish more than I. So to move forward, a couple more things here. We're going to cover writing effective cover letters, completing job applications. Then there's an activity in the manual after that. Then the interview preparation, preparing for the job interviews. Then there's an activity after that. Common interview questions and responses. And there's an activity after that. The workplace etiquette and professional skills, professional behavior and communication. So we're touching on that. And then there's an activity after that. So after each of these different sections, the manual has a space for an activity, so that people can get more familiar with and kind of see what it looks like implementing these skill sets. Teamwork, collaboration basics, introduction to the workplace, conflict resolution. We're touching on that. Then there'll be an activity. And then from there, we go into month 3. So as I said, y'all, it's a lot of information. So most of those, and I think I skipped over mock interview and feedback. So there'll be like a mock interview and then feedback as well when I do the workshops live, to kind of give the returning citizens the opportunity to see what it's like doing an interview, and kind of getting them to break that ice so that they won't be so, so they won't have so much anxiety when it comes to doing their first interviews. So now we'll move on to month 3, education and skill development. So I open up with my personal story, as I said, in every month. And then we're going to continuing education opportunities, GED and high school diploma programs. And there's a lot of resources and information in the manual as well. So there's an index in the back with resources, addresses, .coms, websites. So all of this information will be available, man, because I know how important it is for people to have these resources and at least be able to reach out to the right people, because I can't do everything for everybody, but I wanted to compile a great piece of work that would be able to give an individual everything they need. Even if it's not in this manual, it would have something to point you in that right direction to whatever resource that's not in here, or additional resources to help them along the way. So community college and vocational training options. We'll touch on introduction to online learning platforms, identifying and addressing skill gaps, and assessing current skill sets, identifying skills needed for targeted jobs. So, for example, if you're looking to be in the carpentry field, or if you're looking to be in the marketing field, there'll be different things in the curriculum that's going to help you to identify what skills are needed and to know how to cater your job search and your skill sets to the particular job and field that you're looking for. Because a lot of people, like I said, the demographic that I'm serving, they don't get this information. Like, a lot of people don't give them this information. And I'm gonna go into a quick example of that. When I was in prison and I was taking I forgot exactly what course it was, but it had to do with jobs and vocational services and finding jobs. Do you know that when these people came in there, and I remember me and a couple of the brothers like feeling offended, like they actually, like, the lady was, the way she was so condescending, and the way that she was teaching and trying to guide us into vocation and job placement skills or whatever. The main thing that she was pointing out and highlighting was like working at McDonald's, and like they were just trying to teach us skills about, like, it was very insulting, for somebody that's back there. We're in prison. Like, just because a person commits a crime doesn't mean they're an idiot. You know what I mean? So you talking about brothers that were back there. We were taking college correspondence classes. We were buying self-help books, doing a lot of reading and studying in groups amongst each other and everything. And a large percent of us in that classroom were probably way more intelligent than this lady. But, it's like, I say all that to say this: a lot of the curriculum and programs that they give the inmates in these institutions is only teaching them the basics, like the basics of the basics. And I know how important it is to really be taught, like really have somebody break down to you, what you need to do moving forward in order to be successful, unless you're going to get discouraged if you don't have the proper tools and, the proper information. So thank you so much, Star Fury. I appreciate that, brother. So yeah, to move forward just a little bit more. You got a question? Go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that probably for the lady, she didn't interact. You have to build a rapport with people before you try to teach them anything. That's number one. And number two, times have changed. There has been a time before that if you just mention the word felon, your options go from like 100 down to maybe 3. And so McDonald's may have been the only option. Now, if you have a certification or a degree, a lot of times people don't care what background you came from. They just move you into maybe the sex offender lane or non-sex offender, but everything else they don't even care. And then also, the way society is, not just in prison, but even in life. If you're working a job, the job is set up so that you do not think, so that you do not experience the things that entrepreneurs experience, because entrepreneurs are thinkers. So you go to work, they tell you what to do. It's a monotonous task that you do that's very repetitive, day in and day out, that anybody can do because it becomes muscle memory. And then if you work a bunch of overtime, you too tired to think and become creative. So you go home, you look at TV, they call it the boob tube because it's supposed to satiate you. And on the boob tube, it tells you what to eat. Now you're looking at Popeyes commercials and Taco Bell commercials and Pizza Hut commercials because you don't know what else to do. You don't have to think about it. They having a deal. It's right by your house. That's where you go. Or there's another commercial that comes on for losing weight because you gained all this weight because you weren't thinking. So it's a cyclical situation to where you're not set up to think and you're not set up to win. So I'll be quiet.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. You're so funny with that. Nobody's telling you to be quiet. You're the co-host here. You're at home. But very valuable information. Absolutely. And you guys can look forward to, like, Nicole and I, like, we're gonna really delve into this information. This is like one of my favorite co-hosts ever, like with anything that we do, you know. And so I'm definitely gonna be working hand in hand with her when it comes to dealing with the anxiety aspects of being released from prison or doing time in prison. She's gonna be like my number one go-to because she has a lot of experience in that area, and she's just perfect, man. Great when it comes to giving you a story and painting a picture that'll help you be able to perceive what you're doing, where your anxiety is, and how to deal with it better. So when it comes to that aspect of this curriculum, you guys can look forward to seeing Nicole as working with me directly. And so in the future, when we get to doing some traveling out, going into the institutions, Nicole will be right there with me as well. So, yep, absolutely. You got another question, Nicole? Go ahead.
TV said that basics are sometimes the best start.
Okay. Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, basics, that's always, I would think, I would go as far as to say that's always the best start. Like, and I found that in my own personal life when I have such, broad visions. And whenever I tried to just jump out there and do it, it was like it wasn't working because I didn't have that foundation. So you're right, bro. The
Well,
basics, like, that's very important. Go ahead.
I say that within the context of being in those institutions, right? Like I understand like what those trainings be, those workshops, those seminars that they try to put on in the institution. They come in and they're basically all they're really doing is touching the basics. Because you're right. In some instances, some people speak from a condescending standpoint, or they come in judging the whole room, not knowing that some of these people in the room are probably more educated and more qualified than they themselves. But when I found myself in these rooms, I think starting at the basic was where you're saying this is the foundation, like just from a food service standpoint. Like I worked in a mess hall. And the skill sets that you use in the mess hall could very, very much be used in a Chick-fil-A or McDonald's. Not saying that that's where you're going to end. They're saying that that's where you're going to start. But differentiating between a mess hall and Chick-fil-A is super important. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, is just like when you talking to individuals who are coming from a jail, prison, or correctional institution, like we also got to unlearn what we use to survive. You know what I'm saying? You know, like those people skills, those social skills that could get you hurt in prison is probably the very same thing that's going to get you promoted in society. But, you know, we got to unlearn what we use to survive, to kind of say, you know what, there is a degree of transferable skills when I worked in the mess hall and now I'm transitioning to, you know, the fast food industry or the service sector. So, I mean, it's just context is everything. And, you know, at the end of the day, really just, I've been in them situations where, you know, you have individuals who come in and you could tell they speaking from a perspective of judgment. But in those rooms, I know that there's some value in this seminar or this class. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, to me now, looking back, I realized that none of them classes was a waste of time because they gave me something that I can use along the way. So, I mean, you know, I basically, I guess what I'm really trying to say is for those individuals who are maybe watching this live from inside is don't take it personal. And there's some value in every class or every situation. You know what I mean? So you just got to know that, you know, you adding value to your situation. You know what I mean? Regardless of the messenger, just try to get the message and use it to your your the best of your ability.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And to top that off, bro, this was one of the things that I was pointing out too. To top that off, it was the way that she responded when one of the brothers was talking. He asked a question like he wanted to know about franchising, like how we wanted to learn, you know, like how can we get involved with a franchise of McDonald's, like on it on that type of level. And the way she like brushed him off and gave him the cold shoulder was like it just was disrespectful. But what you're saying is very important. I'm glad that you cleaned that up so that the brothers don't miss that message to understand those basics and those transferables. Exactly like the brothers doing the lawn out there in prison, coming home and starting their own lawn service versus
Corey, just
you know
to
what I
add
mean?
to, if I could say one thing, like 9 out of 10 of them peoples, they have never been owners of nothing. They have been lifelong career bureaucrats. So you can't ask somebody what ownership look like. She never owned nothing. She don't even own the curriculum that she's facilitating in the institution. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to read between the lines. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you're right. That's a perfect example. I know what it is to be on a menial, that those minimum. I was on the snow crew and landscaping. Back then, I thought it was a burden. But come to find out, the same skill sets that I'm using to cut the lawn in those federal institution is the same skill sets that I could use to be have a successful landscaping company.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So you just got to understand that there's a degree, there's some transferable skills with what we doing in those correctional institutions that could be used outside in society. And it's really a matter of perspective.
Yeah, that's powerful, bro. I love that. Thank you so much. That's a lot of value you just added. Thank you so much. The floor is yours, Nicole. Got a question. You good?
I just was going to say, I really like what you said, because what I'm hearing from both of you, what I hear from, and I can't see what your name is, so I'm going to just say TV. But TV was saying, take the meat and spit out the bones. Take what's
For
useful
sure.
and discard what's not useful. But the thing is, there is so many things that will become useful at a later time. And then also from the lady's perspective, it's offensive to you all, Corey, because she trying to put everybody in the same bag, and you have to differentiate between we are not them. It's some of us that want to go a little further. It's some of us in here that just want to be at the bottom level. And it seems like she's saying, well, how y'all gonna come from prison and then leapfrog over top of me into franchising, and you want to become wealthy immediately? No, if I have anything to do with it, I won't let you do it. But there's a degree of self-study that we all must do. And so I have been in a financial literacy class, and all we talked about was debt management. I didn't learn about asset preservation until I got out of that class. But I was in the class for 13 years, and I never, ever, ever learned about asset preservation. All we learned about is debt management and credit scores, and that's it, but not how to utilize and leverage that. So I'll be quiet.
Mhm. Okay, got you. TV, do you have something else you wanted to say, bro?
Well, I mean, I say all that to say, like, you know, I think it's super important. I mean, first of all, I think context is everything. We know that behind in those places, that is an inhumane place. Those are inhumane places, inhumane condition, to the fact where it begins to affect the staff. You feel me? You done seen it. You know that we can be so inhumane to each other, right? You know what I'm saying? So, I, I guess from this standpoint, being able to understand that affects everybody in those. It shouldn't affect people to that degree, but it can even affect the staff that's there to help you, that they come in there inhumane, they come in there miserable because they don't they don't want they don't know nothing about asset preservation because they struggling with debt. So they begin to talk to you with their own baggage. So I mean, it's context is everything. But listen, man, I mean, you know, you even behind enemy lines, you got to add value to yourself. And clearly, you know, you were buying books. You was in a small group of individuals who were sharing knowledge and investing in yourself. You know that there was a pocket of the prison that wasn't doing that. And
Mm-hmm.
nine out of 10 of them dudes had a release date. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's context is everything, man. You know, so you know, I was just thinking, you know, out loud saying, you know, is there an app for the book? You know, and I'm brainstorming because I know I did 9 months in the halfway house, and you know, the halfway house wasn't adding any value other than, you know, you got to write a pass to go here, go there. But are you thinking about some form of app for your book or the curriculum? Because immediately when I got to that, before I got to the halfway house, I got a cell phone. So I was in the halfway house, and you know, the cell phone was the means for educating myself. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, some people get to the halfway house and they dumb out with a bunch of meaningless stuff and mind-numbing stuff, but then some of us be in the halfway house trying to use the cell phone as a means to educating yourself. So maybe there's a way for you to make your book or the curriculum in a digital format where a person could download the app, and now you super interactive.
Yeah.
That's just thinking outside the box, bro.
Yeah, thank you. That's dope. That's dope. That's dope. That's dope. Something came across similar to that, but not as direct and as concrete as you just made it. So no, that mental note has definitely been taken. And you know, once that seed is planted with me, like that's gotta happen. That's definitely gotta happen. I'm gonna look into what would it take to make that happen, and we're gonna make it happen because the workshop, the program that I got, bro, in the curriculum, it's so much, like it's a lot of information.
Yeah.
And I like, even like with the online courses, with the ebook, with the book, with the workbook, with workshops, doing live workshops, with having people being able to come together, you know, for support groups. It's a lot of different aspects, and I think that putting it in an app would be a great place to package everything, because as of right now, the main place that I have as far as a home base where it's all packaged is my website.
Well, you also know that adult learners are different, right? You're doing multiple things. You got an online strategy, then you got an offline strategy. Because, you know, I think about, like, literally nothing was going on in the halfway house. You putting on a workshop in the halfway house with a book. That'll be powerful. Like I get to the halfway house, like, and it's crazy. These in 7 days will be 3 years since I walked out of that that correctional institution. I think about what them first 9 months was in the halfway house. The first week in the halfway house, I couldn't leave. So just think about if you was putting on workshops in the halfway house, you found a way to partner with halfway houses. This is where that book becomes, now individuals are back to writing. They're opening a book. They're going 1 foot out, 1 foot in, meaning they're stepping out into the world. They're utilizing the very same things that you may have went over with them in that workshop or that seminar, and then they're coming back. And now the continuous aspect of it is now by way of the app or the online aspect of it. Now you're giving them more information. This is step 2. You know, the workshop or the seminar could be step 1, but it's phases to it. And, you know, just at the end of the day, I know what it is coming out of them systems, bro. And for those of us who have family or loved ones, it was a blessing for me, man. You know, but I think about everybody's not like me. Some individuals, parents done died. They done burnt a lot of bridges. They are really trying to rebuild their life, and they're starting from ground zero.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So this book may be the first step, you know what I'm saying? And being able to build a relationship with the organization or you yourself, I mean, that could be priceless. So, I mean, you got, the sky is the limit with, you know, where you can go with it and how do you utilize it. But like I said before, bro, like whatever you need, I'm here. I'll lend my expertise, because this is not a zero-sum game, bro. You feel me? You serving the community. You feel me? Ultimately, the winners of individuals who come back and are successful, however it looks like, being a manager at McDonald's or manager at Chick-fil-A, or just being a father, being a tax-paying citizen, you a success. You know what I'm saying? It don't automatically go back to you being a business owner or CEO. Just you being opposite or complete contrary of what's sending you to prison, you are successful. So, I mean, like, Core, like whatever you need, bro, like I will lend that expertise, that, because yo, there's not a zero-sum game. You know what I mean? I'm paying it forward, you know, so I'm here, bro.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much, man. You add so much value and perspective to it. I greatly appreciate it. And you definitely, you know, will gonna get the updates and invites to anything that I do. And if there's ever anything that's inspired in you that you figure that you want to do that would be in connection with the platform, like I say, man, I'm open. Like, we can accomplish more than I. And it's so needed. But you're right on, spot on with what I'm going to do. So to give people an idea of a little bit of the vision and the plan for it is judges' chambers. I'm going through the judges' courthouses to the goal is to have my curriculum to be served as an alternative to incarceration for nonviolent and first-time offenders. And it's a whole year curriculum. So I'm going to reach out to more. I've already started. I'm reaching out to more probation and parole officers, asking them, hey, if you got any guys on your caseload that's serious about making a transition in their lives, send them to me, refer them to me. I'm going to let them take the first 3 months of the courses. I'm going to give for free. We're doing, and for individuals that are struggling with their reentry, like on a one-on-one basis, like I'll make sure they have access to the curriculum for free. But as far as like the institutions, I will allow them to pay for some of the people to go through the program. So that's a goal in getting all of that set up. I'm going to the halfway houses. I got some of the sisters in the transitional house from here in Atlanta as well. Going to the halfway houses to see if I can do just that, present my curriculum and come into the halfway houses and be able to teach these courses. But the goal is to make this curriculum a part of like a book well known. That's why I took as long as I took with it to make sure that it was thorough and had everything in it that I can imagine that a person would need. And for the things that's not in it, there's some references in here as well, to guide people in the right direction to get more assistance and resources. But I think one of the main things is, like you said, bro, just being out here and being successful is the success point. That's the standard right there. And that's the model for PR Max, is to get out and stay out. That's what I always say. That's the model right there.
Facts.
Get out and stay out. If you can do that, you're successful.
Facts.
You know? Absolutely. So 1 second, I'm going to check and see if we had any Facebook messages. I heard somebody just popped in. I think we might have somebody else joining. Oh, brother Ed is in, but it's not connected. So yes, okay. Thank you, Miss Katrina and Rashawn. Thank y'all for y'all feedback. I'm glad that you guys are here and enjoying. So I'm gonna just run through this a little bit. I'm gonna go through some more of the manual, just hit on some topics, and I'm gonna get out of the manual so I can actually show you guys some of the workbook. So the workbook is gonna be the main thing that I'll probably take to the halfway houses first, because that's something that people can have in a personal, like something that they can take and start using, you know, on a one-on-one, and not necessarily need me to facilitate and expound and give that kind of coaching aspect to it, you know, and that teaching aspect to it. So I'm gonna just kind of go through a couple more of these right quick. And in fact, I'm gonna just go through the months. So month 3 is covering education and skill development. Then month 4, financial literacy foundations. A couple things like banking basics, introduction to debt management, introduction to savings, the importance of savings, emergency funds, the introduction to financial goal setting. That's month 4. We're dealing with finances and literacy. Month 5, we're touching on housing. So in month 5, we'll touch on things like understanding housing options, the various housing options, strategies for affordable housing, lease agreements and tenant rights, home maintenance basics, you know, so people can save money coming from that circumstance if they work in a job and they're on a, you know, a fixed budget or whatever, versus having to call out and have all these services done. What are some of the ways that they can go about saving and doing some, you know, maintenance on their home on their own, you know, like just simply like brothers coming home, like teaching them about YouTube and how you can go on to YouTube and put how to change my filter or how to check, you know, like with my duct up here in my heating and air. I never learned anything about heating and air, but I was able to go to YouTube and type in the type of heating and air system I had, the Honeywell, put in the exact type and tell YouTube what was the problem and be able to go through that video, and I fixed it. I learned what to do. So these are some key essential skills for a person coming back here to society to know that, yo, you're trying to save your money and, you know, and build something and get yourself financially successful. So these are some key skills that you can use instead of having to spend that money and have somebody come out here and charge a couple $100 to do something that you can look at a YouTube video and accomplish yourself in 30 minutes. So, which is the reason why I included those type of things. Household budgeting, creating a supportive living environment, you know, conflict resolution in shared living spaces, you know. So I'm going to touch on some of those things with the guys at the halfway house, because as we know, making that transition from prison to the halfway house, you still have certain type of personal characters, you know, conflicts, and just giving them an opportunity to kind of tone it down. Like, you're not in that environment, you're in this environment. So we're going to need to address this environment in this way, you know, just kind of taking those small steps. And just if they're talking about, for example, you know, people that talking about moving in with family members, that's another aspect that I really give people one-on-one guidance with. For example, I give you one of the tips I give brothers, because when I came home, like I said, I lost both of my parents at an early age. So my godmother, rest in peace, Mama O, or live on through me, I like to say. Mama O offered me an opportunity to have somewhere to stay when I came home. And I told her I just need 90 days. Because I put the pressure on myself. Like, I know that give me 90 days. In 90 days, I'll know where I'm at. And if I need to redress the situation and say, look, Ma, I need another 2 months or whatever, I could do that. But I put myself on a 90-day, like I know I was going to have to get a job, get a license, you know, save up some money, certain things of that nature. But what I was getting at is some of the key essential skills for a person coming home, living with somebody else. And a lot of people don't know this or haven't been taught this. Like, yo, if you staying with somebody, if you see the trash need to be dumped, dump that. You know what I mean? If you like, if they're allowing you to save money and there's something that can be done, you see this, they're out of tissue in the house, get the tissue. At least if they're not telling you, yo, you got to pay bills because they know you just coming home from prison, you know, allow people their private space. You know, if you living with somebody, and let's say, for example, it's a couple like my brother and sister, you know, that when I did my violation and came home and had to transfer my probation, they allowed me to stay with them. So they're a married couple. They're allowing me the space in their home to stay. So I want to make sure that I'm conscious of, hey, you know, I might need to find something to do on the weekends or sometimes in the evening to make sure they still have that peace of mind of their home. You know what I mean? Because they're already extending themselves, although they're my family or whatever. These are certain tips that I think that will be very important and help a person, will allow you to stay longer when they see that now you're being an asset to the family or the household. Because if something, the lawn need to be mowed, I shouldn't have to tell you that. Like, bro, I'm letting you stay here for free. But everybody don't have the same mentality. So these are the type of things that I tell people when they use those tips. It's like, yo, my 90 days are up. But when I go to ask, bro, yo, can I get another 2 months? Based on the fact that I've been doing all of these extra things and giving them their space, not crowding their space. I'm putting my own food in the refrigerator, not allowing them to have to go so far. Now, when I come make that redress to them about needing some extended time, it's gonna heighten my chances of them saying yes. Would you guys agree? You know what I mean?
I mean, the bottom line is, like, you are a guest in somebody else's dwelling. Don't forget that. Like, you a guest. And I think when you put it within that context, and if you're working towards getting your own, you're not gonna burn any bridges. This is not your home. You just a guest in somebody else's dwelling. Don't forget that. Then the other thing you gotta think about is, like, this is just basic. Like, I'm not saying basic, but you're not in prison no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, because in prison, you know, like, even though you had individuals who tried to make sure that the environment was clean, like, that's not your responsibility, but I still want to be in a clean environment. Consideration. This is somebody who extended their dwelling to you. You feel me? So, I mean, here we come back to unlearning what we use to survive. We can't have that effort mentality when we ask somebody who extended us a place to stay. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's a delicate balancing act. And I mean, you know, like, just 101 skills, you know, like when you in the halfway house and you doing this workshop with individuals, you really got to tell dudes, yo, I got to floss mentally. You got to floss mentally. You got to floss spiritually. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't bring, and we all bring back the remnants of prison, you never, I'm not going to say never, but you got to constantly check those stinking thinking things that we picked up while we were inside, because those things could get in the way of the very same blessing that we have today. Whether you be staying at your a friend's house, or you know what I'm saying, like it'll get in the way of your blessing. Like you cannot allow the baggage of prison to keep you, like, I really call it arrested development. Like real talk. Like you can't allow that to get in the way of your blessings. So you just got to check your stinking thinking. You got to check yourself every day.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. So, let's see if we got any other questions, any other comments in here. Nicole, any words on that?
I agree. Being an asset and not an ass. Being a blessing, not a burden. A wonderful and not an odor. Because I was thinking when y'all was talking, I wonder, because I've never been in prison, but I wonder, can you go to prison immature and come back mature? Because a lot of people don't know the basics of, let me let me use your car to go to a job interview, but I washed it and I put gas in it instead of it smell like cigarettes and I got you 8 tickets. People don't know that it's certain things that you have to be taught. You need to learn that if the person got to get up and go to work early, maybe you should turn your music down. Maybe if all they have to offer you is a couch in the living room, they don't need to see you all the time in your underwear and different things like that. And now you inviting people over, and now the people that you're inviting over is going in the refrigerator. People don't know that, because what I work with a bunch of guys, and when I find is that a lot of times they'll end up with a woman who left her parents' house and go straight to their house. So you leave your parents' house, go directly to prison, and you never have the time to be independent. So it's some things that you wouldn't know. You don't know the burden of having to pay the bills because everything is given to you. Your food is given to you. Your all of the things are given to you. So how would you learn these things? So I was wondering, can you go immature and learn these life skills and come back mature?
Uh, if I could answer your question, I mean, you can. I mean, prime example, Corey, the course that y'all working on, like, it's a, like, you know, you bringing in those harsh realities that individuals are gonna face. Whether you may be doing a workshop in a correctional institution, it's real out there. The world don't owe you nothing. Your family don't owe you nothing. Even if you left them $1,000,000 and they ran off with your money, they don't. The world owes you nothing. And if the quality of the life that you would like to build for yourself begins by you understanding what it's going to take for you to navigate that world. Like you're stepping into a world where you used to have money. Now you don't have no money. You used to have a 5-bedroom. Now I'm sleeping on somebody's couch. So I need to take in consideration that I'm a guest here. My name is not on the lease. You know what I'm saying? So I'm taking in consideration that, you know, milk costs $6. Eggs cost, you know, so I can't just be killing the milk. I can't be inviting JoJo over who's going to kill the milk and the eggs and the bacon. I got consideration. You know what I'm saying? So you can learn these things. You know, you can learn them by when y'all going into these halfway house and tell them it's a cold world out there. Some people are working 3 jobs just to afford a 1-bedroom in the city of Atlanta. You know
You
what I'm
know what?
saying? Like, you know, it's real. Basically, at every step of the way, your program, your curriculum, your representation should be given, not scaring them, but it's a real world out there. And if you're going to make it by way of legal means, it's a new set of rules that you're going to have to adapt. Now, if you're gonna be an outlaw, then I can't help you with that. You're gonna get enough education in prison, the halfway house, and then the other pocket of the world where it can help you be a better criminal or a criminal. I don't, for lack of better words, but the real world requires a new set of skill sets, and your program, your curriculum, your conversations need to be giving them real talk.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And and this is where I'm gonna tell you how that can lead their ass right back to prison. This is the importance of just knowing how to conduct yourself when you living with somebody is just this important right here. When, let's say, for example, you're doing everything opposite of what I just suggested. For example, like you just said, they inviting JoJo and he's, going in the refrigerator or whatever the case may be. The second that they mess around and tell you can't stay there no more, your situation just got a whole lot worse. Now you out here with nowhere to go. What do you think that's going to do? That's going to push people back to what they know, survival, and it's going to put them on the edge, which could lead back to prison, which is why it's so important for people to understand how to conduct themselves. Because like you say, nobody owes you nothing. At any given time, you can do something and violate, and somebody just tell you, yo, man, you can't stay here no more, bro. You got to get it together. You got to find somewhere to go. And then that's going to push somebody right back closer to going back to prison. But yeah, thank you for the input. Go ahead, Nicole.
Just the last thing I'm gonna say, I'm gonna be quiet. I was just thinking that when the person gets put out, if they haven't learned the first fundamental rule of accountability, then they're gonna try to put a guilt trip on the person who put them out. Oh man, I ain't got nowhere to go. Why you trying to do this to me? You supposed to be family. This don't even make no sense. Instead of looking at what you could do, because some people, they don't feel like they want to be humble. They feel like, and I'm only speaking from theory, right? Not fact. But they've been humble all of these years that they've been in prison in their mind. And so now that they out, they ain't gonna have nobody else do this and do that to them. So they're gonna boss up wherever they can, even if they're a guest. People don't understand the etiquette of guests, the guest etiquette. So that's all I was gonna say. I'll be quiet.
So actually, to be quite frank, I mean, not just like even in the workshop, like when you said something like in prison, like etiquettes. I ain't etiquettes. What are you talking about? I need to be able to shoot first, ask questions later. This is what we use in prison to survive. You may have what they call prison etiquettes. In some pockets of prison, individuals have prison etiquettes, but that's not society's etiquettes. You know what I'm saying? So once again, we come back to your program, your workshop, whether you putting on these seminars, workshops, and classes in a prison, a halfway house, or, I mean, you may catch somebody who's just released. It's a new set of rules out here. And you, like Corey, you got to be, like you expressing that. You got to unlearn prison so you can survive, and not just survive in society, but thrive.
Right.
You got to. If you bring the baggage of prison to society, your chances, I'm not going to say you're going to fail, but your chances are going to be very slim.
Mm-hmm.
Slim.
Yep. Facts. Absolute facts. And with that being said, I'm gonna scroll on through these next couple topics so I can show y'all some of the workbook real quick. So, legal support and compliance. Month 6, we're gonna cover those things. Accessing legal resources, understanding the role of public defenders, things of that nature. Overview of parole and probation requirements, all of those different things that may be needed then or in the future when it comes to the legal aspect of things. Do y'all see this as a little bit bigger now that I did widescreen, or is it the same size for you guys? Okay, well, I can see it a lot clearer now. But month 7, mental and emotional well-being. Week 25, mental health foundations, recognizing common mental health issues. Week 26, assessing mental health support, finding appropriate mental health professionals. Week 27, because that's a whole nother thing. A lot of people get released from prison. They don't even be sending people with their proper mental health medication or no references of where they can get therapy and all of that. So all of these things are very important. Week 27, basic coping strategies. No, Nicole gonna be all over that right there. All the coping strategies. Basic stress management techniques. Week 28, building personal resilience. Strategies for overcoming setbacks. So that's month 7, and recognizing and celebrating personal progress. Then month 8, we go into substance abuse and awareness and recovery. Touch on understanding substance abuse, exploring recovery options, building recovery support and network. That's where Mendable is going to come in. And I said Mendable is going to come in, not Mendables going to come in. But EA too, shout out to EA, because that's right along his alley with substance abuse and awareness. So I definitely, would look to him to give some valuable information when it comes to that, because he's substance abuse certified. So developing recovery maintenance plan, setting realistic recovery milestones, and then we're going to month 9. Month 9 is centered around family reunification and parenting. Boom. So we touching on rebuilding family connections, understanding co-parenting and child support basics. All of these things I've been through in my own personal life. Thank God that now I'm to the point to where I'm at, man. I finally was able to come to, grounds to where, we're doing the co-parenting thing, and it's the best thing ever when your kids don't have to suffer as a result of, you and the other parent not being able to get along or come to some type of agreement. So that's going to be a very important part. Foundations for effective parenting. Building strong parent-child bonds, collaborative family goal setting, integrating work, family, and personal time. Then we go on to month 10. I'm trying to just push through these right quick, y'all, so I can get y'all to see the workbook. Community engagement and civic participation. So that's month 10. Finding meaningful volunteer opportunities, because some of these volunteer opportunities, I know in my personal experience, being involved in community engagement and involved, in volunteering for certain things really kind of helped me keep my mindset positive and put me around other positive people doing other positive things, gave me a sense of encouragement, a sense of pride, knowing that I was actually now being a positive part of the community, being that, once before I was a part of the problem, coming back and being able to engage and volunteer and being part of the solution. It really does something for your mind, your spirit, and for your character, just for your personality, and you're able to kind of give back, so that's another important aspect that we'll be covering in month 10. Building community network, expanding, becoming a community contributor. Then we go on to month 11, advanced financial management. And I have people that I'll be working with and collaborating with as well that'll be coming in, teaching and helping facilitate some of these areas. Advanced financial management, pretty much comprehensive financial review, or in-depth budget analysis, advanced budgeting strategies, implementing zero-based budgeting activity, long-term financial planning and basics of retirement planning, understanding insurance and risk management, strategies for financial growth, techniques for salary and benefit negotiation, principles of building long-term wealth. And then we go on to month 12. Month 12, personal growth and future planning. So comprehensive progressive review, kind of assessing the achievements across all areas that we covered, in order to set up a plan to continue moving forward in success. So career advancement planning, strategies for professional network expansion, long-term life planning, setting your 5-year goals, developing action plans for goals and achievement. And then, so I got a bonus month in here, which is month 13, mastering long-term success and resilience, holistic health and wellness planning, touching on integrating self-care practices, expanding your support system, deepening your community involvement, transitioning into mentorship roles, because I think it's very important. Like once we actually reach that level to where we kind of got ourselves back together, we're out here and we're functioning and successful in our reentry, it's only right, like the brother T said, man, to pass it on, to pay it forward, you know, because being able to survive and thrive and make it through the conditions we've been through, and to be able to be one to say, man, now I'm stable and I know what it takes to get from that point to this point, to be able to be honorable enough in your own character to say, hey, man, I'm willing to offer a piece of my mind, a piece of my experience to help the next person along, is definitely the key point, you know, in closing with this curriculum right here, is to kind of help one person to make it from that point to this point, and then be able to instill in them the fire and inspiration to really want to pass that on to the next person, so that this type of mindset and teaching is perpetuated. So yep, so that's it. That's the manual. That's what everything in the manual will cover. And so I'm going to read this real quick, and then I'm going to open up the floor for anybody that got any comments on the manual and what all it covered. But I just want to read this right here, which is the introduction to the manual that I kind of skipped over. So, statistics of incarceration in the United States of America. The United States has one of the highest incarceration rates in the world, a phenomenon that has been a significant social, economic, and political, and has social, economic, and political implications. As of 2021, approximately 2.1 million individuals are incarcerated in various correctional facilities across the country. This figure represents about 25% of the global prison population, despite the U.S. accounting for only 4% of the world's population. The incarceration rate in the U.S. peaked in the early 2000s, with rates exceeding 700 prisoners per 100,000 residents. Although there has been a gradual decline since then, as of 2020, the rate stood at about 655 per 100,000 individuals. So for every 100,000 individuals, 655 of them are incarcerated. This decline is attributed to various factors, including criminal justice reform efforts, changes in drug policy, and shifts in public attitudes towards incarceration. Demographically, incarceration rates reveal stark disparities. Black Americans are incarcerated at a rate nearly 5 times that of white Americans. While Black individuals represent approximately only 13% of the U.S. population, they make up about 36% of the prison population. Similarly, Hispanic individuals are overrepresented, making up about 23% of the prison population as well, while comprising around 18% of the total population. The nature of offenses resulting in incarceration also varies significantly. A substantial portion of the prison population is incarcerated for nonviolent offenses, with drug-related convictions contributing to overall rates. According to the Bureau of Justice statistics, approximately 46% of the federal prisoners are serving time for drug offenses. The impact of the war on drugs, initiated in the 1980s, has had a lasting repercussions, contributing to the dramatic increase in the incarceration rate. The economic implications of high incarceration rates are profound. States spend over $80 billion annually on corrections, a figure that has increased over the years. This expenditure raises concerns about the allocation of public funds, diverting resources away from education, healthcare, and social services, which could address the root causes of crime more effectively. And I do agree with that. Recidivism is another critical issue linked to incarceration statistics. According to the National Institute of Justice, approximately 68% of released prisoners are arrested within 3 years, indicating systemic failures in rehabilitation and reintegration. Factors such as limited access to education, job opportunities, and stable housing contributes to this cycle of reoffending. In recent years, there have been movements towards criminal justice reform aimed at reducing incarceration rates and addressing systemic inequities. Initiatives included the implementation of bail reforms aimed to create fairer outcomes within the judicial system and provide alternatives to incarceration for low-level offenses. In conclusion, the statistics surrounding incarceration in the United States reflect deep-rooted issues within the criminal justice system, characterized by the rates of imprisonment and significant disparities. This is the last paragraph. Substantial economic costs and persistent recidivism challenges. Ongoing reform efforts are crucial to creating more equitable and effective justice system that prioritizes rehabilitation over punishment. Understanding and addressing the underlying factors contributing to these statistics is essential for fostering public safety and social justice, which leads to the need for the following curriculum: the PR Max Guide to Successful Reentry. So, yes, those are the statistics. And I made it my business to put those at the beginning of the manual, so people can really get an idea and see how many people are actually incarcerated in the world, man. So, yep, I think we just heard something. Hold on, y'all, just checking to see if we had a comment. All right, boom, yep. Somebody commented. Now, y'all, 1 second and we're going to go here to the workbook. I'd like to share this with you guys. Y'all let me know if y'all can see this. Can you guys see my screen? Nicole?
I can see it.
You can see it? Can everybody see it? Okay, boom. All right, so we're going to go. Well, I'm just going to flip through this. This will be a lot easier, but this is the transitional workbook, which is actually a complement to the manual, so that people would be able to walk with me and have a workbook so that they can actually work on a one-on-one basis as well. So welcome to our reentry workbook. We understand that the journey of returning to society after incarceration is a challenging but important process. This workbook is designed to guide you through this transition with practical tools, helpful strategies, and motivation to support you every step of the way. It is here to help you build a strong foundation, develop skills necessary for success, and stay focused on your long-term goals. Throughout this workbook, you'll find sections that address different aspects of your reentry, offering actionable steps and encouragement. The challenges you face are real. Like you said, it's the real world out here. But remember that every effort you make brings you closer to a brighter future. Your goals are achievable, and this workbook will serve as a resource to help you stay on track and move forward with purpose and confidence. We believe in your ability to overcome obstacles and create a fulfilling, successful life. This workbook is a tool to support your journey and remind you of your strength. By staying committed and following the steps outlined here, you can achieve the goals you set for yourself and build the future you envision. We are here to help you succeed, and we're with you every step of the way. So instead of me reading through everything, I'm going to just flip through the pages of the workbook, and then we're going to bring that aspect to a close, and we can have our closing comments, and you guys can give me your feedback and on the curriculum and on the workbook, and we could kind of bring it to a close. So with that being said, this is what the workbook looks like in print. And so the manual is now available on Amazon. If you look up the Game Changer by Corey Nathaniel Baker, that's available. The workbook is not available yet. I'll be uploading the workbook within the next probably 48 hours, and the workbook should be available within a week. So it's my goal to have the workbook available by next week. So setting and achieving long-term goals. Then you have space over here for activities. As you guys can see. Boom. So more room for activities. Then huddle up. This is when we have some group conversations. And then you probably want to take notes on some of the things you got from the groups versus yourself. And then you have a space for your own personal notes as well. Boom. Chapter 2, vocational skills and workforce training. We'll cover that. Navigating the job market after release. Here's some information about it. Leveraging your skills for career growth. Recognizing your skills. Applying your skills to your job search. Your activities over here. Self-assessment. Questions for your key skills. Vocational skills. You can do your own personal self-assessment here and fill out the information over here so you can kind of have an idea of where you stand. All right. Chapter 3, in-person job application tips. So all of this information right here give you some tips for job applications in person for your interview process. Pretty much your appearance makes a strong first impression, so it's important to dress neatly and professionally when submitting an application. Wear clean, well-fitted clothes as if you're going to a job interview. So if you're taking it in your hand, but 9 times out of 10 you'll be submitting it in person, submitting it online. But a polished look shows that you're serious about the job and ready to take on the responsibilities. Okay, this is why your resume matters. So this information goes through your resume. Structuring a resume that works. These are key points on how to structure your resume, how it works. Common resume errors to avoid, as you can see right here. So these are some of the things that'll be we'll be going over in the workbook. And this is something that people can actually learn on their own, and at their own pace and have as a reference. So here you have functional resume example, combination resume example, importance of cover letter. We go into some details about cover letters for your resumes. Interview errors to avoid. This right here points out different things to avoid in an interview. failing to ask questions about a job or employer, you know, demonstrating poor listening skills. And I'm just kind of bouncing around through a few of them. Giving vague or incomplete answers, presenting a negative or unprofessional image. So all of these are 18 interview errors to avoid. Over here on this page, you have resources for skill development. So, oh, my bad. Resources for skill development. So these right here are actually resources like Udemy, all these are different websites, as you guys can see. You got websites that people can kind of click on if they're on the digital workbook and go to these different websites and pretty much learn what other resources they have available in order to help them with the process. Resources for local job training programs. All of these resources here. Got phone numbers, websites, Salvation Army, Career One Stop. And these right here will vary based on different states. So that's why I put the more general government programs that are available in most states. But if you guys, and that's for the ones that are listening that are incarcerated or just now recently released. If you're looking for more detailed as far as for your city, then you would just take this information and pretty much call or use that link and then just go as far as to put in your own zip code or information to find out what's available actually in your city. So resources for volunteer opportunities are right here. All right, job placement support and resources. And mind y'all, I know that some of the text right here, as you see, is kind of in front of some of this information. But as far as the alignment for uploading the file on Amazon, it's like if you move it in a certain way, then it'll throw everything off. So I had to do the best I could do to make sure that I got everything in here. And most importantly, have this important information in these resources available for people here. So these are job placement support and resources, additional resources for support for your job. Additional resources to support your job search. So temp agencies here, where you can get your free email, interview resources, another huddle up page, and then a page for your notes. So you can take notes on basically whatever they would find on those pages if they want to take down some notes that they need to refer to. Communication skills, power of effective communication, building confidence and strong relationships. We'll be touching on that. Here we go. Some more activities, identifying barriers to effective communication, discovering your communication style. We'll have some relevant information on that. Just giving people some understanding to help them build foundation to be able to improve their own relationships and family communication and relationships. So reflective on your effective communication, then huddle up. So be after we have group conversation about it. You could kind of take some notes. Reconnecting with family and children. Rebuilding connections. Tips for reconnecting. Do's and don'ts. Activities to plan with your children. All of these different things are here, man, to really kind of give, you know, an in-depth guide, like, you know, an engagement for people to be able to have things to do. If they can't think of them themselves, then there's some ideas already here giving you sort of a roadmap, you know, to reconnect with your family, because that's very important. Family reflection space. More notes. And here we have self-reflection and accountability back here in chapter 5 in this workbook. The power of weekly reflections, cultivating growth through insight and accountability. And your weekly reflections. So you got your weeks and your months. You can pretty much put all your reflection in. We talk about your accountability partners. A lot of times I know with myself, I work well with accountability partners. That was my thing a lot, especially with working out. I felt like a lot of times when it came to working out, like I'll give myself an excuse and do it later or end up not doing it. But when you have accountability partners, it pretty much puts you in a space to where you don't want to let your partner down. So having accountability partners has been something that proved to be effective for me in my life. So I thought that it'd be a great thing to have as a part of the workbook as well. Periodic progress checks. You want to check on yourself and make sure you're making progress. So here you have the value of periodic progress checks, checking your progress, your monthly progress. So you have a little space here to jot down a few things. Here we go. And some more notes. Achieving balance across 4 key areas: spiritual, mental, physical, and financial. This again comes from my personal experience, and this is kind of how I like to set up my table of life. I always say that you want to maintain your balance on all 4 corners of your table of life, because if you're not spiritually balanced, then that's going to affect, your mental, your financial, because it's like all of these, your mental, if you're not mentally balanced, then of course you're not going to be in position to really want to do physical work or, adhere to whatever your spiritual program is to keep yourself in alignment spiritually and positive. If your finances are not in order, then you're not going to be in the right mental space. So a lot of this stuff, man, I found in my life that it connects with each other. And I think that having a spiritual, mental, physical, and financial 4 corners of your life is very fundamental to being successful in life, man, because it's not just one aspect of life that you want to be successful in. So the importance of life balance, we talk about that in the workbook. Then you got tips for mental balance and mental health resources. As you can see here, all these are resources that have been put in the workbook for people to be able to reach out and, go to these links, check on these websites, and get more help and more resources. Physical well-being, got tips here for exercising regularly, staying hydrated, avoid harmful substances, eat a balanced diet, and you got websites down here that you can refer to get further detailed information. Tips for financial balance is pretty, self-explanatory. As I said, financial support and resources are all set here as well. A lot of phone number, websites, and information, man, for people to have to refer to, Then you got your huddle up, your notes. Then in the back, we got more resources. So a lot more resources in the workbook. So like I said, the workbook will be available on Amazon as well. And these workbooks is something that I look forward to the prison institutions being able to order. Prayerfully, these workbooks are something that I want everybody to be able to have upon their release. So I'm going to package it up in a way to where with the program, if I have different prison institutions that are working with me on the program and I'm coming in facilitating the curriculum, then having these workbooks being available for people at an option if they want them. When they come home, there'll be an option for them to have these workbooks. So that's my goal, to actually have that as well. Educational programs, reintegration advocacy organizations. So all of this information, different resources are available in the back of the workbook. Housing assistance, free services. Like I said, all of this complements the manual. So just as thorough as I was in the manual, we're going to be just as thorough in the workbook. So there you have it. Boom. So with that being said, I can come on back to you guys. Now the floor is open to y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Let me get this off of the, take that off of the stage. Let's see. And you guys can kind of stop screen share. Yep. So now y'all let me know what y'all think.
To begin, I think you did an excellent job on the manual and the workbook. I'm sitting here taking notes on a few things. For one, I'm always brainstorming because, for one, while I was inside, I was a reentry coordinator for over 10 years. So I seen a lot of reentry material come across my desk by way of pushing the institution to purchase it. So I can definitely see this program being facilitated on the inside by individuals who have taken your program and now facilitators, boots on the ground. And I could also see you employing people who may be going in to various halfway houses, correctional institutions, facilitating that. Because you already know at the end of the day, the criminalization of poverty is only going to produce more prisoners. And it's sad to say that there will always be a need for something like this, where you showing individuals how to divorce themselves from the criminal justice system. I want you to think about reentry courts. Like, these are actual programs in the federal courthouse throughout the United States of America that are actually pushing initiatives such as yours. So you got a potential customer base there. Halfway houses, which are not standard throughout the United States, but are owned by various different entities, corporations, and they are also looking for different initiatives to reach their demographic. Then you got the prisons, penitentiaries, mediums, lows. They also have reentry coordinators looking for programs that basically could aid them in the reentry process. So I mean, you definitely you ahead of the game. The manual, as it relates to the manual, being able to one of the things that I was kind of like pushing when I was on the inside is financial literacy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because whether I was a prisoner or somebody free in the free world, knowing how to manage my money, knowing how to save my money, knowing how to grow my money, and particularly knowing how to flip my money legally was important. You feel me? So I think being able to get the message across that you don't need 10 pairs of sneakers. You don't need 5,000 songs on your MP3 player. You need to minimize conspicuous consumption because you're going back to society. You know what I'm saying? So you need to know how to make a dollar go longer, but more importantly, you need to know how to turn a dollar into two legally. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if you may have areas where individuals could open a bank account while they're inside. I mean, I know 9/11 kind of changed a lot of that, but being able to connect the dots from the inside, from a financial literacy standpoint, you know what I'm saying? Because me having $5,000 on my book does nothing for me, but does a lot for the institution. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you listen, Core, you got a nice platform. You look like you spend a lot of time into that. I mean, there's always room for improvement, but you ahead of the game. Lastly, I'll say this. We ran what was called a re-entry simulation. I don't know if somewhere along the line you could actually incorporate. I'm speaking it in, when you do get in these institutions. Not only are you doing a workshop, but you actually running a simulation, a 72-hour simulation of what it looks like. Your first 72. You know what I'm saying? So now, you know, you taking theory and you allowing individuals to play with, not just play with theory, but learn theory and fail in a safe space. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can fail and not go back to prison because you don't know how to use certain principles. So, I mean, I think you did a good job, and I could see myself purchasing this for a few of my friends that I still have behind enemy lines. You know what I'm saying? Because every day, you know, just having information, like, we are only as good as the information we possess, bro. And I say that coming from prison, you know that. You know what I'm saying? So I just on some, you know, fellow contributions, saluting you. You know, I can see myself purchasing this for a few of my guys that are still stuck behind in these places, bro. So congratulations on the book manual, and just I look forward to keeping in touch, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. We locked in, bro. I appreciate you. I
Sure.
really do. Yeah, we locked in, man. Thank you too for your feedback and your participation. You added, man, you added a large amount, a great amount of value to the conversation, man. I really genuinely appreciate you, and just look forward to us continuing to collaborate, man.
Without a doubt, bro. Say less. I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I got you. Your team. I look forward to whatever, however it is that I could impart my experience on that. Because yo, bro, real talk. Because this is not a zero-sum game, bro. The communities that we serve will be the winners, and the men and women exiting these places, they too will be the winners, because you're giving them the tools that they need to divorce themselves from the criminal justice system, of course. So I salute you, bro. I appreciate it, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much, man. Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
And I gotta run because it's Sunday. I gotta get ready for my evening, but I appreciate it. It was informative, and I'll see you all on the battle, bro. All right.
Absolutely, man. Peace, family.
All right, peace, bro.
All right, one. Man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome, Derek Gamble and Christina Riley. So, real quick, because we're going into closing, they've been here for quite some time. In the background, I just my screen, as y'all can see, I had the full screen on going through the workbook, so I really couldn't see to bring them up to stage. But as I spoke on earlier, I said there was a young lady that I connected with that actually does help people with their resumes, and she was excited to be a part as well. So that's Miss Christina Riley. And so thank you so much for being here, Christina. I'm gonna give you the opportunity to introduce yourself, and then Mr. Derek Gamble, immediately after, you can introduce yourself, and then I'll ask you guys for your feedback from what you called the podcast. Well, go ahead, Christina. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me. I'm Christina. Let me get my camera. I'm sorry, I'm actually driving, so I've been in and out, but I got the gist of what's going on here, and I'm very excited to be a part of something so big and just be connected with motivational, uplifting people. And so I'm Christina, and thanks for having me. I can't hear you, Corey. You're on mute.
My bad. I got to do that at least once a show. But Christina, can you just give a little brief introduction of your background with what you do? I don't know if you want to expose whatever company you work for or whatever, but just a bit of detail as far as what you do. So, yeah, go ahead.
So I don't work for anyone when it comes to being a resume builder. I do that for myself, for people, and I only charge $20 per resume for anyone who I've done it for. And people always give me more because they're so happy and they're thankful. But I just do it. I mean, for extra income. It's not my job. It's not full time. I just do it when I can. You know, I just like to help people. And how I even got started, I was applying for jobs and I wasn't getting any callbacks. And I said, let me look at my resume. And it was horrible, hadn't been updated since 2017. And I was like, well, this is why. So anyways, I reformed mine and I said, gosh, people probably have this problem. And, you know, I just started helping people.
Great. All right, that's what's up. Well, thank you, because she was so excited, y'all, to work with us here with my curriculum and on the podcast. And so I really appreciate your excitement and your willingness to be involved and to help out. And I look forward to having you around and having you grow with us and to be able to, do what you do, which you sound like you're so good at doing it. I may need a resume refresher myself. Not that I'm going to work for nobody.
Right. I would love to do one for you, just so you could see, just the transformation. It's really simple, but just the changing of words. I mean, it's just professionalism. I had no professionalism in my resume. It was just really jumped up. So when you change the layout and change the words and the feel of it and really single everything out individually and not just run it all together, it looks much nicer and you can catch someone's eye. But yeah, I just like being able to help someone, honestly. And when I redid my resume and I started getting calls back, it boosted my confidence. Okay, someone does, I do have good skills, and so that's important when you're coming back into the world. I've never been incarcerated, but I do have family members who have, and I know people who have. And, you do need confidence when you're coming back in, because oftentimes you've lost a lot of your confidence. And so if I can help you feel good about yourself and what you've done and your skills, then I am feeling good.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you, Christina. And it's perfect that the two of you guys came. All right. Thank you. Perfect that the two of you guys came in. So now I'm going to introduce introduce himself, Mr. Derek Gamble, who actually will have some of his clients that I'll probably have you working with me to help serve some of these guys as well. I know he offers a lot of those skill sets and resources over there with what he does with Clean Slate. But I'm pretty sure that the more the merrier, and I definitely want to be able to make a contribution to the Clean Slate Reentry program as well. So, yep, Christina, if I could get you to mute, then Derek, you can unmute and you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm having a little bit of internet connectivity problems, so bear with me if I go out anytime. Can you hear me, Cord? Okay. Anyway, I'm Derek Gamble. I'm the founder and director of Clean Slate Reentry Program, located in Sumter, South Carolina, Central South Carolina, which is right on the outskirts of Columbia, which is the state capital. I've been doing reentry transitional housing program, this program for the past 8 years. I've been a SCDC volunteer for the past 12 years. And fortunately and unfortunately, I have been a resident of the Department of Correction and a graduate of there. I did 3 years incarcerated and, got out and actually got my life together and got it together in a point and a way where I was able to found this organization and actually start housing individuals. We have a 20-bed facility here located in this part of the state. And over the last 8 years, we've seen about 450 residents over that time frame.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much. And so that's one of my, Nicole, how you make people your mentors and you don't tell them about it. Yeah, that's one of mine right there, man, because with what he's doing in South Carolina, I'm so impressed and honored to just, be a part of his life. This brother right here, man, great guy. I'm telling you, the testimonials, when you see these guys, how excited they are with their license, with their new car, whatever, because he helps them along the way. And so for a long time coming, I've been having conversations and sending him messages, telling him what I've been working on, and that once I get everything in order that I wanted to be a part of, to be able to contribute to what he's doing. So now I've reached that point to where now I have the book, the workbook, and got this curriculum together. And I'm actually looking to open a clean slate or similar type of residence up here in Georgia, which I'll be calling my main man, Derek Gamble, to guide me on through the way, so that we can service more people, because there's so much of a need. So thank you so much, Derek, man, for everything that you do. Did you get, I don't know if you got to hear much of the outline of the manual. You probably got in good enough, at enough time to where you could see the workbook. But Derek, I've already ordered my first 10 copies from the author, and I have a copy for you. I definitely got a copy for you as a gift, and that's a contribution, that's a gift to you. But also I want you to have the opportunity to have it in your hand, to look through it. And like I told you, I wanted to be able to educate and facilitate at your clean slate reentry programs as well, because I know it's a lot of additional information that I can provide to these guys that you're servicing. So I just wanted to add you to the list of the few people that I wanted to gift one to, because you're one of the ones that actually kept me encouraged and motivated me and guided me in different areas as well with developing this curriculum. So to the people that helped and supported me, I definitely wanted to add you in that list and gift you one of these books. So it'll be here by the end of this week. And so I have it sent out to you, man. So thank you again. And thank you for joining the podcast today as well.
Appreciate you, good brother.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So it's 5:07, y'all. We about to slide on up out of here. Any feedback, Nicole, on the workbook, a book, or anything on the way out? Because I'm not gonna keep y'all much longer.
I think it's a great book. I think that it's very thorough and comprehensive, because there are so many, we're not one-dimensional people. We're multi-dimensional and touching on relationships and finances, and when you're alone by yourself, and conflict resolution, and all the different potential things that people could come up against. I don't think it's just for prison reentry. I think it's for just people just having good conduct as citizens. So I can see it being useful on a lot of different fronts and having like a crossover effect. So that's my unsolicited advice. Oh, you did solicit it. Okay.
Yeah, this time I got you. Absolutely. So we at an hour and 57 minutes. And I planned on going for 2 hours. So I guess I'll go ahead and let y'all know before I go out. So this right here has just been the introduction to the manual and the workbook. We will be putting together these podcasts now moving forward in for 2025. I'm going to start doing pre-recorded podcasts, and they'll be released and published and broadcast on my Facebook channel and also on the Skillsets for Life YouTube page. Like right now, I'm doing the first live stream to the YouTube page as we're doing this now. So just wanted to let you guys know this will probably be like, I won't be doing lives unless it's something that's going to be a special event that I pretty much, we plan for months ahead of time. But from now on, the podcast that you guys are going to see are going to be categorized, and they're not going to be 2 hours. So I won't be holding y'all for 2 hours no more. But I really gratefully appreciate, like, people don't just give 2 hours of their time to nobody. So for the people that are here on the live, and for the people that may catch it later and watch it throughout the whole video, I just want to greatly, express my appreciation for you guys. Thank you to everybody that wants to join and be a part of this movement in helping the incarcerated and returning citizens. Just thank you guys. I appreciate everyone. And we're gonna hop on off of here, man. I think we're gonna hop on off of here. And first and foremost, I mean, most importantly, thank God, thank our creator, who is so magnificent that, you know, brought all of us together, and we all got a divine purpose. And I just feel like I'm really in my divine purpose. Just looking at myself on this screen right here, right now, I know I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. Because like I always tell people, I ain't do no 10 years in federal prison for nothing. Somebody's gonna learn from my experience. And this right here is the beginning of somebody learning from my experience. So the book is available, the Game Changer Transitional Manual, on Amazon. Anybody that wants to support, please go to Amazon and you can order the book. It's a manual. The workbook will be uploaded and available on Amazon by next week. And you guys stay tuned for my autobiography, which is entitled From Menace to Mentor. In my autobiography, I will be going in depth in a lot of my lifetime personal experiences, growing up, experiences in prison, experiences with family, experiences with everything that I went through, from being a menace and now being a mentor, just that whole transition. So for those that really want to get to know more about me and who I am and know more of my personal life story, y'all stay on the lookout for my book that's coming soon, From Menace to Mentor, The Life of Corey Baker, a man that made a way. So with that being said, man, peace and blessings, everybody. I'm going to hop off of here, and I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you so much, Nicole, for being my co-host. I love you. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Brother Derek. And thank you, Brother TV. Everybody that contributed to this podcast being a success. I love you all, and I appreciate y'all. With that being said, Star Fury, what's good, bro? Thank you for being here too. Thank you, Jahan. Brother Ed is in the background as well. So all of y'all know, man, y'all know that I really greatly appreciate each and every one of y'all. And thank you to everybody that's ordering the book. My son was the first one to show me that he already ordered it. My son Trey. So I appreciate it, man. Thank y'all so much.
Okay.
All right, peace. All right, in the live stream.
Peace.
Peace. Knock, knock. Knock, 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 bro. I'm trying to get in. Trying to get in your head, man. Trying to get in your head, man, and let you know that's not where you want to be. You see that? I've been there. I've been there. That's not where you want to be, man. Listen up. If you're listening to this video, this is a message. This is a warning. You know what you're supposed to be doing. You know what you're not supposed to be doing. It is not worth it. You do not want to be there. You don't want to be there. Because guess what? When you back there, something happened to your wife, ain't nothing you can do. Something happened to your daughter, nothing you can do. Something happened to your son, your mama, your daddy, ain't a damn thing you can do. But call somebody else out here and see what they gonna do. But you should be out here so that you can protect them. So that you can make sure they get their education. So that you can make sure they got food, clothing, and shelter. You should be there so they will have somebody to look up to. So that you can lead them the right way. Break the generational curses, family. That is not where we need to be ending up, man. I've been there. That's the first place I've been when I went through the federal prison system. Atlanta Penitentiary.